Russell, let's roll.
Okay, so I think this young lady doesn't need any introduction at all, but I sure want to thank Barb for putting this together, kind of like on short notice. So thank you, Barb, and you guys enjoy. Take it away.
Okay, thanks, Russ, but Fred's gonna have to do my thing. Because I suddenly have laryngitis and I can't do it.
What?
So,
Go ahead, kiddo.
So here's Fred.
So this is Barbara's presentation. I helped her with it, yes, but she did the majority of the stuff here, and she's divided it up into basically the stages of our journey. So it's not just the convention. She wanted to tell you about how we got there, and we were gone for a while. We decided to drive because I have a little sister, my baby sister, in Little Rock. That's not quite halfway, but close enough. We have a niece in Dallas, close. We have friends and other folks we know in the St. Louis area. We said, you know what, we'll just make an adventure of it. So it was. Now, before we leave, we have to take care of the cats. This is Mr. Ed. He lives out front. So a local teenage girl comes over and takes care of him. But then we have backdoor cats as well. And the little girl can't take care of them. We have to get our niece to come over. So this is Daisy. And this is the put together cat out of spare parts, Rose. This is this is Mama Kitty and Lily. And of course, Spot, who is definitely in charge back there. So we had to get someone else to take care of them. And then there's the inside cat who is Talk, T-O-K, which stands for the orange cat. He goes to cat camp because he's special. Okay. So he's an indoor cat only. All right. So our first stop was Little Rock and Hot Springs. How many of you have been to Tiny Town in Hot Springs? Okay. None of you, nor I, would call this a layout. But you can see there is a railroad theme there. This thing has been around for 40 plus years, built by the father of the guy who's running it, and the daughter is in there helping as well. And it looks like it's been around for at least 40 years, built out of bits and pieces and parts of all sorts of stuff. The most expensive building is not in this scene because he had to go buy some styrene for it. It's an interesting place to visit. It's an interesting place to visit. And what's most interesting to me, not the H-O, the N, the G, the O that's all mixed in here. When you see a water scene in here, it is real water running in here. So the best part, I think, for all of us is to take a look below this thing. And oh my goodness, they're either paying the fire marshal off or the fire marshal has never visited this place. And evidently neither has a plumber. And you can see a fan in the middle of that thing because it's got to cool down all this Rube Goldberg contraption that's going on there. But it's a fun place to stop. And again, we went with my niece and her family there and spent, I don't know, a couple hours visiting this place. So kind of a fun place to go. How many of you ever heard of David's Burgers down in that area? Ron has. Let me tell you, y'all know how much I like Freddy's? Freddy's pales in comparison to David's Burgers. Oh my goodness. Oh, yummy stuff. When you walk in, you don't see this. You're greeted by a couple of people. Have you ever been to David's before? No. Well, let me tell you about it. And they give you the whole story. And right there in front, there's a meat counter with, oh man, endless fries. And they're served on just a piece of paper there where you can see the red and white checkerboard. Endless fries. Bring them, and yummy food. And not any more expensive than Freddy's. Freddy's is good. We hit our share of Freddy's going down and back. And they're hiring, as you can see.
No relation.
No relation, no. And Freddy's no relation either. Barbara, about 30 minutes outside of our house, said, I forgot my earrings. I'm like, do I need to turn around? No, I'll be okay. So one of the hobbies that my baby sister does is she makes earrings and other little jewelry things. So Barbara learned how to do that. I've told her it is not a new hobby until she finishes all the scenery on the layout. We'll see how that goes. Welcome to Texas. I don't know what drive friendly means to Texans, but it does not mean the same thing it does to me. Let me tell you, it does not mean the same thing. And then you stop at the first rest stop and you see this. Watch for snakes. Yeah, they are watching you. That's right. Now, if you thought we had a good time in Grapevine, we did. But I want to tell you, this greeted us every day. It was over 100 every day. It was in the 105s plus every single day. And I don't care if you tell me it's a dry heat. When it's over 100, it's over 100 degrees. It's crazy. You wake up at 7 in the morning and say, hi, it's 85.
And it never got below 94.
Yeah, the whole time you guys were there. Now, we had to go early. Okay, and that was a good segue, actually. We had to go early. So we left Louisville on a Wednesday. We spent the day and Thursday with my sister and her family. Friday, we arrived in Grapevine because Central District Director now, I had to sit through some meetings. So we had board meetings and other meetings going on Friday and on Saturday. I knew about those. I didn't know we were also going to have meetings on Sunday and on Thursday and on the following Saturday. But actually, in reality, I had little itty bitty meetings here and there all through the week. So busy guy, but I still enjoyed the convention. Just letting you know, that's why we went so bloody early. And looks like a board meeting to me. This is the formal board meeting of all the meetings there. There was just one formal board meeting. This is the one where visitors can come in and so forth. And everybody you see around the table there, except for the one in the back left here, is either on the board or they are a committee chair. For example, Christina over on the far left is not on the board, but she's the marketing director for the organization. And way back there, that lady sitting behind Frank Koch, that's, anybody know who that is?
Can see in the small TV screen.
Oh man, here. Oops, oh no, I made it worse. There we go. Can you see her now? You've all heard us talk about Jenny. That's Jenny from the NMRA office in Tennessee. Absolutely. All right. So after that meeting got done and some of the other meetings got done, we went and picked up our badges and stuff. And Barbara has, she brought my badge over here, and there's some other stuff to look at. You guys take a look at it after we get done. If you're in the room, by the way. Timetable, nice, thick timetable. Pretty accurate. I didn't find any glaring errors through the week. That was good. And, you know, there's always going to be things that change. People get sick. People can't show up. You get replacements and so on and so forth. Our good friend, Dave Ackman, was unable to attend. He was going to present half a dozen clinics, but that's the way it goes. By the way, the tabs do not come with it. Those are Barbara edits and modifications, but it makes it easier for her. If you attended the convention, you received free of charge a scale trains covered hopper. So paid for me. She was with me, paid for her. We got 2 of these things, still trying to decide what we're going to do with them. She may use them for a weathering project or something. But anyway, yeah, the first 1,000 people. So that was kind of cool. Cecil's got one back there, and it just doesn't quite fit in with his era either. So hotel was kind of interesting. I'm still trying to figure out why there was a lady dressed as a pirate running around with a parrot, but that's okay. It was a huge facility. It was absolutely humongous. The nicest thing, best thing about it, the convention center and the train show connected. It took, what, 5 minutes to walk from one to the other. No, it was so nice. A lot of people dressed like this. This is Mike Arnold, the North Atlantic director. He's from Great Britain. And his sidekick, Derek, they actually rode with us at the LD Sig tour we'll talk about later, but he was dressed to kill. And of course, talking about dressed to kill, Gordy was there in the kills, of course. And the guy at the microphone is John Doring. He's the Eastern director. John is actually originally from Texas, so it's okay with the hat, but I'm still not sure about that baby blue bow tie. But polo shirt with bow tie, it's okay. This was the welcoming reception for everybody. Last year when we held this, in St. Louis. There were maybe 50, 60 people. There were a couple hundred people there this year. They got the word out. Did the membership meeting, and there weren't quite so many people. And everybody sitting on the front row and part of the second row are all board members. But we were there, we had it, and nothing exciting happened there. One of the neatest things that happened, though, was we found out from Andy Zimmerman about, you can't really see him on the screen. That's okay. About these guys. Y'all know what these are?
Yeah.
Okay. These are this is, no. You hear it clicking? Just like paratroopers in World War II?
Yeah.
Okay. This is the old one. This is the new one. So totally new vendor creating these. As far as I know, they're going to be the same cost. They are in the store now. The N scale ones are out there. I think the O scale ones are out there. The S are coming, and we're working with the S gaugers to create those. So that was a good thing that those finally came out. We did sign up for Surfliner 2024 in Long Beach. All right. Also up where we were doing clinics, there were a number of layouts set up. This is an HO scale layout here. And then Barbara came back on Tuesday evening, and she ran a train across it's N scale, it's not T-track, it's Fremo N layout. Man, Fremo N layout. I was supposed to help her, but I pretty much just took pictures and visited with people. And then she had this guy who was a pilot taking her across. And that's the neat thing they had pilots doing. This was the Women in Model Railroading night. So it looked like she was having some good fun there. And then maybe not. And then how many of us have done this at an operating session, huh? You know? So I don't know what was going on there, but she had a good time. You had a good time? She did. Okay. This other layout, and this is kind of cool. It's an N-scale modular layout. It's all self-contained switching layout. He brings it to shows. Russell Schneider from Mid-Central Region, Taylor Mill, Kentucky. He's part of Division 7. And he said, yeah, I might come down to Louisville if you asked him nice to come down and bring his layout. So he lets other people run it as well, which is kind of fun. I found these people wandering around out in the hall when I was supposed to be helping Barbara run trains. And Mom came up and said, do you have some trains around here that we can see? We heard there's some trains. And I said, come with me, follow me in here. So took her and the kids inside the layout room that you just saw and found this guy. And I don't remember his name, but he was one of the pilots. And I said, gave him the short story. And I said, you think you could kind of run a train for them and so forth? Fortunately, I found the right guy. I did not find the guy that said, they have to sign a waiver. They have to go through the training. I'm not sure, they're not NMRA members. He just said, yeah, come on, follow me. And away they went. It was absolutely great. Kids ended up running trains. Each of them did run a train for a little bit. Gordy found out about it because I kind of spread the word. He came in and signed off a honorary engineer certificate and gave him a presentation. So you might see that on social media. Hey, everybody remember Bob Weinheimer? One of the many restaurants we met up at the convention. Food was a major part of this convention, let me tell you. Anybody ever been to Babe's Chicken? It's an interesting place. When you order your food, Bob wants something, Barbara wants something, I want something, Todd wants something. Everybody wants something different. You're all seated around the table. It comes out in one big platter. You better remember what you ordered because you have to pick it off there yourself. Okay? And then if you've been out to Claudia's Sandwich, you know how they do family, you know, with mashed potatoes and green beans and stuff? Same thing. You run out, we'll bring you some more. Just give us a minute. They'll be right back. Fun place and not too expensive. All right, we went out to Davidson Yard. This was not planned, but Mike Mackey works with the UP guys who run Davidson Yard, and he cleared it that we could go out there. You got that? He cleared it that we could go out there. Mike already knows where this is going. He failed to tell the guy who was working that night that we were cleared to go out there. Well, we went out there and we took, I'll tell you what, I popped out of that Odyssey and I was taking pictures. Boom, immediately taking pictures. Okay, got some great pictures. Took a little longer to get out there than what I would have liked to, but still there was enough lighting. We were going. About this time, the truck rolled up. Yeah. Oh no, I kept going. Everybody else is going, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? I'm going click, 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 click. I'm gonna take as many pictures out there as I can, but yeah, we were told to go away, and that's okay. Mike evidently later in the week got an apology from the guy in charge that, dude, you know, I don't know what happened. But yeah,
hey,
we got
Fred.
Yeah.
Where is that?
Fort Worth.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's the old MP yard there. Okay.
Yes, it is actually. If you look at a map of this, a Google map of it, there's actually MP Road on there. Yeah, that's what we used to get in there. So got some nice photos. This wasn't all of them. You know, we were there for 10 minutes, so I took, I don't know, a couple hundred probably. So Mike has a very nice layout. I'm not going to go into all the pictures here. It's you can see it's Old West stuff. Cecil, you'd be right in there with him. Talk quickly about the contest, Celebration of Models. How many of you have already looked at the October 2023 NMRA magazine? It came out yesterday. I have read it from cover to cover already. Shame on all of you for not already looking at it. You got an announcement from Ron saying, it's there. Man, this was best of show. Scratch built, box cab, Z-scale. Z-scale. That's why I took that picture. That's HO in the background. Z-scale. And the guy was asked when he got the award, how did you do that? A lot of patience, Optivisor, and a lot of redos. This did not win Best of Show because the other one did, but this was the most photogenic. This is, I want to say S. I think it was S scale. Yeah. Well, if you open up that magazine, he'll tell you how he did it because it's in there. Anyway, basically, this guy won a couple awards. Believe it or not, he got first place for the photo match for his creosote tie load, and then he got the model contest chairman's award for his scrap train. He beat out Cynthia Priest. So clinics and presentations. I sat a few clinics, few presentations. Barbara sat probably more than I did, actually. And most of hers focused on scenery and weathering and so forth. Now, this one is by Marty Jenkins. He's the Pacific director for the NMRA. But Marty helps a lot with NMRAX, so you might have heard him or heard about him from there. He was talking about, well, it wasn't important what he was talking about. The whole reason I took this was to zoom in here and show you all the stuff they had set up for every single clinic room. There are like 8 or 9 clinic rooms, and every one of them had this huge screen, the speakers, a mic, dedicated laptop with remote, and you see that little thing sticking above this guy's head? Yeah, that's one of those downward facing cameras. So if you've got to demo something, you want to show it, you just slide it under there and away you go. Every single room. The AV worked nearly flawlessly. Why didn't it work flawlessly? Because some guys didn't understand. Click this for left, click that for right. That's the laser button. Okay. So I think some of them started to beam me out. Anyway, what a nice screen. How many of you remember some of you went to St. Louis, and I think, Barbara did a presentation. Remember St. Louis? I projected on the wall because the screens were so bad. And most of us did.
One of their committee members worked for that company, and they built those.
Oh, is that what happened? Okay. So again, Barbara did a lot of stuff here on scenery. I'm going to scoot through these. Oh, good. If it's not, then you can take over. But, some of these clinics were really, really detailed, did some good stuff here. I'm going to scoot on here. And I actually recommended this one to Barbara from Sierra West. Now, this is Brett Gallant, I think, owns Sierra West. He did both the clinics, and he did them twice. Thank you for doing that. Really excellent. One was on painting, weathering details, and the other one was on wood. Did you sit through those, Cecil? Yeah. I thought those were some of the best clinics I've ever attended. They were really, really good. And he wasn't pushing product. This is how you do it in detail. So, and the best part about it, and I'll share this with you guys later, is here's where you go on the website and you can see all the clinics all captured on video. So that's cool. Barbara attended a clinic. The title of the clinic was Photographing Rod Stewart's Layout. And if that wasn't exact, it's close to that, but it's a guy that photographed Rod Stewart's layout. He also photographed dirt. Dirt the railroad cat out of the Nevada Northern. So that's why we have it in there, because it's a cat. It's a cat. What is this? It looks like something that
That was tree clinic and that's. the
I
purpose of the
know it is.
tree.
But you know, it looks like a spider web or something here. But actually, it became, through a series of steps here, a really cool looking tree.
He said 3 hours per tree.
3 hours per tree.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, how many trees you got to build?
Let's do it for
Those go up front.
Mhm.
And it's amazing some of the funniest things you find in clinics, let me tell you, clinic rooms. All right, moving on. General interest stuff. So I did not attend any of these, but I was very happy that Barbara attended one of these. That would be the last one in here. So she attended a cricket class, and this is Speed's wife, right? So Speed Mueller, you guys know about Speed. We talked about it before. Stephanie, that's right, did this one, and it was all about using a cricket.
And there's-
There are samples over here on the table. So there you go. And I took some pictures. There you go. So not so much for modeling, but more for crafting. But if you can do it for crafting, you can do it for modeling. So these are things that Barbara made. She did not make the bag, but she made all the appliques. And then what you guys on online don't see is that little steam locomotive out there actually folds out. So it's a 1, 2, 3 page card actually. So kind of cool stuff. This is the clinic I was really happy she attended. It was not making cakes, it was decorating cakes. And you know why I was so happy she attended this? Someone had to consume that cake or it would go bad. Win, win, win. Let me tell you, how many days did that last? Yeah, look at that, it should have. It didn't taste bad to me. No, we did not, but this is like Wednesday of the week, so we were okay. Anyway, LD Sig Tour, my favorite part of the convention, absolutely, because you get to drive yourself and go to the layouts you want to go to instead of, hi, we're going to sell you a $80 layout tour package. There's one layout out of 4 that you want to see. And oh, by the way, because there's so many people, we only get 2 minutes in there. No, you do what you want to on this. So there were 20 layouts available. We actually took this path and we put 200 miles on the car visiting 9 layouts. Designated driver. We could have gone longer because some of them were actually open until 10 o'clock at night. When we hit number 9, I said, we're going home. We're going home. I almost asked Weinheimer to drive, but we had a good time on the layout tours. So I'm not going to show you all of those. I'm going to show you just a few photos from some of those. So this is the first one we went to, James Peterson, Gulf, Colorado, Santa Fe Railway, Dallas District. Most of the oh, you ain't seen nothing yet. Dude, this is the open, this is not even the crew lounge. Crew lounge is in a separate bedroom over here.
It's the owner of Discount Models in Dallas.
Okay. So, and off to the right is more. And there's a fold up that gives you a return loop. To my right. Most.
Prototypical operation too.
Oh, absolutely. So these, you don't find basements here. So it's either upstairs in a spare bedroom or spare bedrooms in this case, or it's somewhere in a spare bedroom downstairs or in a garage that's hopefully well insulated or in a separate building out back that's hopefully well insulated. We'll get to that in a couple minutes. But that map you see on the back is what they are modeling. And as Cecil said, they are following what these guys did way back. I could have given you guys 100 pictures here and still not covered this thing. We're just going to do a few. So there's a look at one of the yards. Hello. And there's like 3-4 rooms like this, Cecil. Yep. Yeah. And this is the layout owner over here. This is technically a duck under. I did not have to duck under it. Yeah. Okay. And there's another room. Obviously, they're still working on scenery and so forth. This is where we presented him the, thank you for being an LD Sig person. I think you guys have seen these before. I've talked about them. The back of it is plywood to represent the bench work. The middle piece, the sandwich, is homosote that they've milled. And it says, this is when you had your railroad to a point where you could run trains. And the final finish is this nice looking brass. That's to represent the finished state of your railroad when you have scenery and so forth. So it's a nice little thing. All right, moving on. David Dinsmore's Potomac Valley lines. This is HO scale. And there was a dog, so we had to show you the dog. Guarding, yeah, that's a good guy. So David's is an interesting layout. They're doing ops, but it's kind of freestyle ops, for lack of a better term. They're not following any specific railroad's prototype. It's not representing any specific railroad, but they're having fun. They're doing ops. I like this board. It's a magnetic whiteboard. They put tape on there to represent where they're going. You can see you've got staging on the left, staging on the right, and the bottom two, track 1 and 2, will loop around and meet one another. So it's point to point, but you do have the ability to run through if you really want to. This is in a garage, by the way. He has a nice book that everybody has access to when you get there. In fact, everybody gets a copy of it when you run trains, and every location has a nice little track diagram of where you're supposed to be doing switching. So it makes it a little easier for newbies. This is something I found in a lot of the layouts out there. Below track level, they would have a shelf. You know, Russ has shelves that are popping out in the aisle and so forth. And I've seen other places that have different types of shelves, but most of the layouts we visited, not all of them, had shelves like this that were kind of built down there. And you see that little oval off to the right, kind of looks like an oval porthole. That's so that you can peek in and see what's going on in staging. And that was common through a lot of the layouts as well. So I just wanted to show you that. Again, we're not working on scenery yet, but I love the fact that he's got a dip in the sky. That's so you can look on the other side and holler at people. And that's really why it's there, okay? One of the unique features about this layout is not the pool, but you have a one-to-one railroad right outside the back door. And all operations are suspended when you hear the train going by. And they were suspended for the LDC tour when the train came by as well. Lee Bangma's Chinook Southern Padre Valley Railroads. You've probably seen this in Model Railroad Press. I don't know what all magazines it's been in, but I know it was in the May-June 2023 Narrow Gauge Gazette because he had a copy of it out there, and Barbara took a couple pictures of it. It is an awesome model railroad. The scenery is virtually complete in this. It is mostly a double deck, and then around the top, he has some billboard boxcars and so forth. So it's kind of fun to look at this. I mean, the scenery is just like, wow. And this is the sort of stuff that Barbara really likes. Yes. And yeah, what can I say? There's not much to say other than my, oh my, you know, just awesome looking stuff here. And even the close-up stuff is just really nice. Some of the bridges, most of the bridges are scratch built. Some are kit and modified. So, you know, not but washer castings, you betcha. Why is there a giraffe on his layout? Because it's his layout. Absolutely. Was that you, Bill? You remember why there was a giraffe? The zoo had an escape. The zoo had an issue. Many animals escaped. So you find giraffes and zebras and so forth. You find fuzzy looking guys. There's that other guy, that Eric guy in there. Okay. And remember Marty Jenkins? Marty Jenkins had a mini-me made out of the mini prints. So he went around different layouts and putting himself on these different layouts in different places. So I found this one. I took a picture of it. So there you go. Hugging a zebra. All right. Another location. This was Jerry Hoberson's Rocky Mountain Central and Colorado Pacific H13. He was recently published also, but he put his out in his two-car garage. Now, look closely. What do you see to the right of that two-car garage? Fresh cement. Guess what's going there? Third stall of the garage, and they ain't going to be parking cars. They're going to be extending the railroad over there. Oh, yeah, there you go. So he was in the one of the more recent layout design journals, and it's all about underneath the layout. Now, this is looking through a porthole. Who wants to look through a porthole when you can roll under the layout? Absolutely. So he's got this little chair with rollers, and you can go all the way around the layout. How do you get up? You got 3 steps to climb, and then you're up on the layout itself. Russ, I never want to hear you say again that you bumped your forehead. You could have done this. He's looking for the unmute button right now. I know he is.
Next time.
Next layout. Okay. Dispatcher's desk. There you go. Lots of monitors, and you see we've got closed circuit TV looking at everything going underneath the layout as well. Nicely done, very clean, very slick. My one complaint, he's got plexiglass across the front of everything. I understand why it's there. It detracts, but you know what? You got to do what you got to do. And he's got track right up against the edge. He's got, well, you'll see it here in a minute, fancy stuff right up against, scratch built structures and bridges and so forth. You got to do it. And I get it. It's unfortunate, but you got to do it. So more in here. And that's actually layout owner right there. And again, really clean looking panels, well thought out. And that's the panel above the roundhouse, around the turntable. This I found very interesting. I don't plan to do it, but I want to share it with you. Does anybody know why they have these and why they're called car markers, except Cecil, because he probably already knows. Close, very close. So you roll into an industry and you have to take out the box car that's on the far end. So the one that's closest to the turnout, of course, stays. That's my 30 minutes, holy crap. So that's the one that stays, but you got to take out the other one. Well, to help you remember, you take one of these and it's an I-beam. You just put it on top of the roof walk. And then before you leave town, you can look around and say, is everything that's got a little I-beam on it where it's supposed to be? Or oops, and you shove it in there. That's what it's for. That's exactly what it's for. This was common among a lot of the layouts, but this is a really neat box that I found. And again, this is the sort of scenery that Barbara loves. Floor to top of layout. Yeah, cool stuff. And again, another one of those bridges. All right. Lunch, Golden Chick, golden giveaway. Well, we went to Golden Chick for lunch. Anyway, Dean Ferris's Oregon Joint Line Railroad. This is the one that was on the far left top of that screen. This is the layout that I said, if we're going to see one, we're going to do it. If all the times he worked out wrong for the rest, we would have seen this one. Dean has been published in multiple magazines. This is N Scale for my N Scalers. See, I don't hate you. We love you. Okay. This is N Scale. This is N Scale. And just to show you it's N Scale, honestly, that's the whole reason I took it. And I was like, it's a fuzzy picture. Oh, well, I'm going to keep it in here anyway for Barbara. There you go. Yeah. And that's what it looks like without all the fancy stuff with the camera. But, well, in theory, you shouldn't ever have to reach in there because it's just.
No. It's a beautiful scene.
I know. This is how we built that stuff. It's 2-inch foam stacked, and then you paint it, you color it, and then you paint it, you color it some more. Want to say any more about that? Running out of time. Most of the scenery backdrop is not painted on. It's painted, but then it's layered with styrene. Okay. Yep. Again, this is N Scale. Done an absolutely awesome job on this layout. The reason I put this in here, took this picture, was to show you what they're doing. It's the Oregon Joint Line. So you've got North Pacific, Great Northern, you've got the UP and a couple other railroads sharing this trackage, so he can run all sorts of different things across this same piece of railroad. You're not just running one, and then there's some other stuff up there as well. Again, man, this is N Scale. Yeah. So this is the shelf that I found really interesting. It's cheap, easy to build. There's nothing to it, and when it's not in use, it just folds flat and it's out of the way. I like this. We might be doing some of these over in our basement. I really like that. The new ones you guys have done? So you guys have done some new ones? Okay. Okay. Similar to that? Nicer. I mean, those are kind of. I'll come take a look. So Greg McComas is Michigan Interstate. How many of you know about Mac Rail, the company, Mac Rail? 3D print details. Okay, well, when you look at all the locomotives in here, you see all this way cool 3D printed stuff on top of them. That's from him. He had a booth at the train show also. This is him. It's the dispatcher's desk is to the right in the foyer of the house, and this is off to the left. It was originally supposed to be an office, as I understand it. So it's kind of small, 4 operators at most. Read the NMRA magazine, and Cynthia will tell you all about in her editorial operating on this railroad. This is on that railroad though. Okay. And this is me inside the helix. And this is Barbara taking a picture of me, taking a picture of Barbara, taking a picture of me. from inside the helix when she was outside. So anyway, and again, that's great. Great little railroad, but tough to take any pictures with a lot of people in there. Last layout, we visited Mike Armstrong, HO scale, Rock Island Railroad, mid-continent route. So they do ops on this railroad, and they do have industrial switching available, but for the most part, they're doing main line stuff. So a lot of meets, a lot of things like that. Helix number 1 kind of implies, yeah, that's looking inside of helix number 1. This is helix number 2. That's looking inside of it. Now that fascia is tall enough that I could barely see inside of it. In fact, I took the picture by putting my hands up here. So they both have a mirror on top so you can see what's going on inside of them. Nice big layout. This is upstairs. That's staging. That's just staging. Holy moly. Yeah, and there's Mike Arnold there taking a picture. I'm kind of showing you how tall this thing is. I got another picture here. Anybody have an idea what that yellow is? P60, F50 with a big line and then 30 on the other side. Anybody know what that is?
Speed limits.
Speed limits. That's exactly what it is. So if you're a passenger train, to the left, you can go 60. If you're a freight, you can go 50. And to the right of it, nobody's supposed to be going over 30 miles an hour. All along this thing, just like that. It's kind of cool. Again, some really nice scenery in here. Some really nice scenery. That gives you an idea how tall this layout is. It's just double deck, but that top, you're looking at it, you're almost eye level. Oh, I think for most of us, yeah. You know what? That's why there's a lower level. So it's all Rock Island. I mean, just gorgeous stuff here. And
Worthless locomotives.
they ran pretty darn good.
The miles might be real things.
So operating sessions. No. Operating session. I was scheduled to attend 2 operating sessions. Remember I talked about earlier? Outside buildings. And they have their separate HVAC sometimes. And the HVAC goes bad. You can't have an operating session. Got a text, got a phone call from the layout owner the morning of the operating session. He was like, I feel so bad. I'm like, we would feel badder if we went there. And actually, this is the one that I really, really, really wanted to operate on. HVAC went out. That's the way it goes. AC went out. That's the way it goes. He was going to get it replaced the next day. Couldn't get it any sooner than that. He said, I want to take you guys out to dinner. And of course, we were all like, you don't have to do that. He's like, no, I need to get out of here for a while. Okay, we'll go with you. So we went and had dinner. So the one I did operate on is Speed Mueller's N-scale Texas Namib. Speed is originally from Namibia in Africa, in South Africa, okay? So this railroad represents the railroad that's actually there. About the only thing that is true to it is the town names, quite honestly, okay? And yes, I really did operate there. It's an interesting railroad because this is a Bluetooth headset talking to my phone with Bluetooth through an app, talking to a dispatcher who is about 200 miles away. Okay, and that's how we communicated with the dispatcher. He did have this big screen TV up there, and the dispatcher actually could flip cameras to see what was going on the railroad to kind of cheat, which is a good thing because there was at one point where Speed said, yeah, just go ahead and through there. I said, well, I don't have clearance to do that. No, it's okay. Go ahead. Well, you're the railroad owner, okay. And about 30 seconds later, I got a call from the dispatcher saying, what are you doing in there? I'm like, Speed told me to. He's not the dispatcher. But Speed is here. So anyway, it was good stuff. You guys see that yard about in the middle of the screen? That's a hump yard in N scale. It isn't quite working, but it worked good enough. Okay. So all around the layout, you have these panels. They are little iPad-like devices, but they're Androids. And they are connected, they are wired to Arduinos to throw turnouts and to show occupancy as well. All the little orange dots are hotspots to turn turnouts. The blue arrows will take you to a neighboring screen. So for example, in this area, there were 4 more screens you could go to because the area where you're going to be working was that big, but But if you crammed all that onto one screen, well, that would be craziness. So if I was moving to the right, I'd push that one down there that says Junction JCT, and it would bring another screen on, just like going next or up or down or something like that. It worked out pretty well, and you can see how it fits on the fascia there. Again, it's Namibia, so it's dry, it's arid, there's not much going on. If you look closely enough, you'll find zebras and giraffes and so forth, but they're supposed to be here, not like in Colorado on the other layout. So Speed is still working on ballasting and scenery and so forth, but he's got enough in there that, yeah, it kind of sort of feels like you're there. And there's Speed in the middle. If you've ever seen Speed broadcast on NMRA, that's the helix behind him there. And there's another look at it. And let's talk about the train show real quick. So getting in the train show, it wasn't that bad, actually. If you're an NMRA member, if you attend the convention, you get to go in Friday morning about 10 o'clock, and then they open the doors for everybody else about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So you've got about 4 hours of free reign in there with all the other convention attendees, but that's fine. Not a big deal. He keeps showing up. You know that? He's everywhere. First in the door was Class 1 Model Works. They had just announced their auto parts cars. And there's Steve and Cody and Mike is in there somewhere and so forth. I tell you what, if there was an award for biggest, best, most brightest display or vendor area, Scale Trains won. They brought the trailer inside the convention center. Holy moly. Wait until you see the size of some of these others. And let me tell you, they had at least 4 people working it. Michelle was there and Shane and some of the other crew. They were working the crowd. Now, not that the others weren't, but these guys were really working it, as you would expect. They had their little faux campfire there and so forth. It was kind of cool. They did not bring the dog.
They were actually roasting something smaller than that.
Were they really? Oh, I didn't see that. I missed that. So this is Otto Vondrack on the right from RMC, and this is Jeff Schultz on the your left with the big camera and the light from Model Railroad Hobbyist. So I visited with them a little bit as they were taking pictures. And then, of course, we had to go by and see Cody at the Model Railroader /Combat booth. And y'all know why we have to see him, right? Every year we have to take this picture because, once upon a time, Ms. Barbara and I visited the Calmback offices in Wisconsin, where Barbara actually sat in Cody's office. You guys remember that? Used to be Cody's office. And every year I tell him and whoever the senior editor is, bring back Cody's office. It's the only good thing you guys have done in the last 15 years. And they look at me, I'm like, I'm telling you, it's the only good thing you guys have done. They're like, yeah. Anyway, Walters had a fairly large booth. Shopping opportunities, of course, from Ms. Barber. And there's a variety of vendors there. Some were just like we'd find at our train show and so forth. This is the Athearn booth. That's it. Oof. Oh, wait. Oh, but wait, there's more. That's the Rapido booth. A little bit larger, but still, they had a lot. I tell you what, I never saw these guys get up and talk to anybody. I never did at Athearn. Rapido, they were up and talking to folks all the time. Jason did show up as well. Barbara was intrigued by these Pepsi machines because once upon a time, she owned a Pepsi machine or two when she was in Pikeville. So you'll see a couple of these show up on the layout someday. She bought, what did you buy? A dozen? 3, okay. She wanted to buy this book, but they were all out. Never fear, I had a solution. Z-scale layouts. You guys remember who this is? James McNabb. He presented to us a couple times. So he actually sent me a text. Hey, are you going to be at the train show? Yep, I'm here. Come see me. Okay, so we visited. Macrail we talked about before. Home shops. How many of you know about home shops? Home shops. So home shops. Chris Palmerin, he's the one in black back there. Works with AccuRail, Tangent, and now Class 1 Model Works. I don't know if he's going to work with Scale Trains or not, or Rapido or Athearn, but he will do a special order for home railroads. So I have in my possession, I bought here a Class 1 Model Works Virginian and Ohio depressed center flat car. Class 1 Model Works wasn't going to do that, but Home Shop said, I think I can sell enough of those to make money. So there you go. So that's what Home Shops is all about. So if you want some of those private road names, Barbara there doing Bachman. So she found this very interesting. On the side of one of the modular layouts, they had this little chart. They had a second chart here. How long is the train? So if kids are like, wow, that's kind of cool. There's 50 cars in here. That's a half mile long. It's kind of something for the kids to look at. and the adults as well. And then how fast is the train going? So you could kind of time it and so forth and get an idea. Got trains. We saw this for the first time last year in St. Louis. This is that modular wood setup. She's intrigued by this. She's intrigued by this so much, she may end up coming to the board and saying, we should get hold of this guy and see what we can do for a local library or something like that. Not yet, but maybe. It is amazing how many of these kids were intrigued by this. Yeah, they played with the Brio, they played with not the Thomas, Thomas, but the wood stuff, but they were really intrigued by this because it's just such a better quality. So some of the in-scale layouts that were there, I thought this was pretty cool. In fact, this whole group did really imaginative T-track modules. This is Hogwarts, of course. And you can see what they've done here. How cool is that? You know, all sorts of other stuff. I've seen Star Wars done on T-track, but I've never seen the Hoth planet, you know, the ice planet done on T-track. Anybody know where this is? I've been there. Barbara's been there. It's Rochelle. It's Rochelle. Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the end of the layout, she's going to come and talk to somebody about redoing our display of the different scales because this looks so nice and they all look the same. Couple different things here. Texas Brick Railroad. Of course, that is Lego, Lego, Lego. Anybody have it? Except for Cecil. You can't cheat. Anybody know what scale this is?
P scale.
No.
This.
Yes.
Yes.
Live steam.
Live steam. Yes. Of course, that's not steam. It's all electric and so forth with sound system and so forth. So this was 1/8 scale. Yeah, 1/8 scale. It was immense in there. Quickly, the banquet. Yep, we're done with the banquet. That was it. Talk about going home. So 5th Street Pizza. I'm not going to show you all the pictures from when we visited with my niece and her family, but we did stop there briefly out in Tyler, which is just outside of Dallas. And then we went to visit these guys, the Hales, just south of St. Louis. So for those of you who don't know, Kansas City, excuse me, Kansas City. I said St. Louis, Kansas City. For those of you who don't know the Hales, they are former Division 8 members. We're here for a number of years. This is their Silver Spike way back in December of 2002. They are both MMRs. Miles got his way before Fran, but we first met Fran just after she had received her Silver Spike. We went down to the layout room, and it is ON30 representing downtown Kansas City. And let me tell you, these pictures are taken at eye level. At eye level. Wow, it is so cool down there. How many of you guys who've been in Division 8 for a while remember this cabinet that was in the basement or in Miles's area? It was upstairs. How many of you remember this? It's the project cabinet, and there's Miles and there's Fran. And I want to tell you, Miles asked me to let you guys know that Russ and Bob and Eric still have projects waiting for them to complete. So anytime you want to come to Kansas City, there you go. Down the street from Miles, I did not know it was there. We were looking for someplace to eat and like, look at this. There's a cool little outdoor railroad museum. So we're going to go back someday and we're going to visit all this. This was visiting our friends in Kansas City. I went to Union Station, Jack Stack Barbecue. And if you don't know what Jack Stack Barbecue is, it's on the backside of Union Station. And it's in an old freight house and with yummy food. Barbara and I actually split this and went, we should have had a third person help us, okay? And then we went to the way northwest side of Kansas City and visited Class 1 Model Works. We stopped in there very briefly, about an hour, and visited with the guys. I took a whole bunch of pictures in there because Steve Priest was showing us around. He said it was okay, and I came back and I looked at it and went, I can't share these. There's got company proprietary stuff on every single one of these, except for this one, where we looked at Mike's little layout here, but it's a fun little visit. And they were there. Evidently, Darcy was there a month or two ago, and he went up to the door. It looked like it was just closed, and there was nobody there. I'm like, did you ding the bell? No. Well, ding the bell. We stopped at Midwest Model Railroad on the way back, just so that we could say we're there. It's a 5-minute off the highway to get there, an hour in the store, and then another 5 minutes back out. This is not it. Take this And the other side of it, beyond that left wall, is at least 3 times the size. It's huge. Barbara's major complaint, why isn't anything priced? Yeah, because it's a warehouse and you're walking through the warehouse, pretty much that's why it is. So then this is where she got her scenery book. Lots of stuff all over the place. And of course, we could not pass up a boxcar that was being used as something else, a repurposed boxcar. So get your mojo back. We got a model of this one somewhere. So 15 days. This is the mileage on the car for all the side trips and the LD Sig tour and so on and so forth. Holy crap. That's it. Oh my goodness. Did I do okay? She says yes. She's nodding her head yes. All right. So that is it. Any questions, comments, historical allegory before we get Bruce up here to talk about his depressed center flat car?
What DCC system did both of those people use?
It really varied. One of them was using a homebrew that they had built themselves. Most of them were using NCE, but there was some Digitrax out there as well. Nobody was using MRC. Ron, it's all yours.